Start on my go. Hey everybody, my name's Rosen-McGinnis, co-founder and owner of Rebel Supplements, and that man over there is my business partner and co-founder. But before I get started, I just want to take the time to thank each and every one of you for coming out today, and a big thanks to UF for putting on this competition and allowing us a platform to talk about our venture. Rebel Supplements is a health and wellness company specializing in the sports nutrition industry. Been around for a little under 2 years, yet it's been a wild ride. And I want to start by sharing this journey with you guys. It all started back when we decided to create our own pre-workout from scratch. We loved it, our friends loved it, but it tasted horrible. We found a supplier who was able to deliver an incredible flavor and decided to go ahead and produce our first round of pre-workout. Pina colada, 500 units shipped to the doorstep. Not long after that, we had our first in-person sale, which was a very exciting thing for us. It was a milestone. We understood that we actually had something that people are willing to buy. But we're then faced with a harsh reality. We went through a business divorce. We had a third partner in the business who had a lot of equity but wasn't doing any work whatsoever. So we understood it wasn't feasible to continue doing business with him. It took a while to wrap up everything, but once we did is when the growth really started happening. We got into our first supplement store and then many more thereafter. But we're then faced with another big problem. Our competitors have the ability to spend millions of dollars in advertising, online and in person, essentially rendering our own efforts in the same space futile. We went to research and went to look for more untapped and undeveloped markets within our area of expertise where we can transfer our knowledge and skills. And we landed upon pouches and gummies. Both novel products with a ton of potential. We ended up going with pouches because they provided the path of least resistance. The only thing that was a little different here is that we researched for weeks on end to try and find a singular supplier, which was not common for us in the powder space. We ended up getting in contact with this guy and had everything ready to go, everything ready to produce with this one guy that we found. But we kept finding ourselves questioning his character, so we decided not to go through with it and instead shift our focus to our new SKU that was coming, our Blue Raz pre-workout. Formed a team of 10 at the University of Florida to help with operations, and then fast forward to this month where we had to submit our initial big ideas business plan. What happens next is unexpected, but it's really where things start to get crazy. Last week, I was on a call with a family member of mine who runs a successful cannabis business in California, seeking general business advice, when he posed the question, Aiden, what other products do you want to bring to market? So I started talking to him about the pouches, when he casually mentions that his lifelong friend is the only other co-packer in the entire United States that can produce these pouches. I kid you not, there are 2 co-packers in the entire United States who can produce these energy pouches. I don't know what the chances are. I don't know if it was a sign, but it sparked the pouches again. He immediately proceeded to add his friend to the call, in which we spoke for over an hour, getting all the necessary details, information, and logistics to do a pouch run. That was great. It was great news for us because we wanted to do pouches, but it left us scrambling because this was a couple of days before we had to submit the final business plan. So we're back, we're putting stuff in the business plan, the stuff we never really anticipated to have in the first place. So I want to apologize in advance for any discrepancies you guys might have in the business plan in front of you and what I'm here to present today. Some noticeable accomplishments of our company since we gained control 8 months ago are $13,000 in revenue, 8 store locations, a new SKU, our Blue Raspberry pre-workout. There we We love technology, don't we? A new SKU, but most valuable, but most important and most valuable was all the experience and knowledge that we gained in such a competitive industry. As you guys know, the supplement space is very saturated. But we were fighting, we were bootstrapping, we're going into stores, we're striking deals, we're trying to sell in person, we're doing what we can to move this business forward despite the competition. Oh, there we go. While at UF, I've leveraged my connections and networked in order to put together a team of 10 talented, bright interns that help us tremendously. This has provided the foundation for Daniel and I to focus at the most important parts of the business, the priorities, the things we need to get done, but we were spending all this time on other stuff where we can outsource and give other people experience. So we have 2 in the back, and they've been absolutely phenomenal in helping us out. So thank you guys for showing up today as well. But before I continue, I want to pose a question to you judges. What do you think, what do all these companies have in common? What is probably the major thing they bring to the consumer? Any guesses? Sean, I'm picking on you. Smart man. Smart man, yes. Convenience. Yeah.
Word for word.
Word for word. Perfect. Just how we planned. No. Yeah, they're extremely convenient. And a lot of the fastest growing and most prominent companies you see today are capitalizing on this trend. So why don't we align ourselves and do the same? 85% of adults in the US consume the equivalent of 12 ounces of coffee a day. I'm gonna stop walking over here. 3 in 4 start each day with it, and 1 in 4 say they can't live without it. I fall into that category. I'm the one person there, but it's okay because I happen to be in the right industry. Civilization has been drinking and enjoying caffeine for thousands of years. It's not a new thing by any means. And I want you guys to take a look around you at a product, whatever it may be. Chances are the development and construction of that product was influenced by someone who was consuming or on caffeine. There's still some problems that traditional delivery devices pose. Powders and beverages are messy. They can be messy and very inconvenient for on-the-go consumption. Many of these supplements contain artificial sweeteners and artificial flavors, which compromise taste and health. And additionally, they are not that affordable if you really think about it. Each day, yeah, $5, that's not a big allocation of funds, but if you do that every day, it really adds up. So for the average consumer, they're fairly expensive. What if I told you we had a way to solve all these problems? Introducing Rebels Energy Pouches, a new, convenient, and cost-effective way to enjoy caffeine. Simply take a pouch, place it in your lower or upper lip, and then wait 10 to 15 minutes for the effects to kick in. Now, 1 tin of these energy pouches contains 15 servings, 15 pouches per container, which is the caffeine and nootropic equivalent to 7 to 8 energy drinks or 10 to 12 cups of coffee, all for the price of $10, providing immense value to the consumers. I would like to touch a little bit more about our co-pack. I want to talk about our manufacturer because not only were we extremely lucky to find the only other guy who can do this, but we also shot for the stars and landed him as an advisor for the company. And you may be wondering, okay, cool, like why is this such a big deal? Because he runs a pouch company of his own in the cannabis space. And as you guys are aware of, you can't list cannabis on Amazon, so we had to alter his product. And when we were on Zoom with him, he showed us some very compelling insights. He pulled up his Amazon analytics. What we saw blew our mind. He was doing $50,000 per month in revenue with 0 ad costs. When he was running ads, he was achieving a 4.54 return on ad spend. Does that mean 5 minutes left or 5 minutes in?
5 minutes left.
Okay, return on ad spend. For anyone that's ran ads before or knows anything about running ads, that's extremely valuable. But the thing is, he was doing this for just flavored pouches. Flavored herbs, essentially. Now you're thinking, okay, he does pouches in the cannabis space. Who are our competitors? Who are we competing against? And there's really only two of any significance: Nectar and Alpha Fuel. As you can see, I've included the product ratings there for you. And would any of you in this room put something in your mouth that has a 3.6 star rating on Amazon? I don't think so. But despite this, they're able to put together $300,000 in revenue per month between the two of them. And the thing about this is that these bad reviews share a lot in common. Most people complain about a chemical aftertaste or a burning sensation in the gum because of all the very potent artificial flavors and sweeteners. They also tend to say, another most common complaint is that they don't feel anything, and that's because they're significantly underdosed. Red is bad, green is good, we're on the right, they're on the left. We have a superior quality product in every single way. And I also wanted to point out King Dip here. We couldn't get their analytics because they're on Amazon, but they're going crazy. They're going viral on TikTok, and we assume they're making more than both those other brands combined per month. And our manufacturer is the guy who makes these. White labels them. The average consumer is going to fall between the ages of 18 and 35 with a focus on productivity, health, and wellness. They're going to be performing a job that requires long hours and high performance. Tech workers, students, law enforcement, military, sales reps, you name it. For those of you out there that are more finance oriented and show me the money, here's where stuff really picks up and gets interesting. We will profit around $4.25 per unit sold on Amazon. We're selling in 1, 3, and 5 packs with a medium-term focus on securing as many wholesale accounts as we possibly can. And we've already gained consensus from the stores that we're in that they'll take this product right away. And it's hard for us with powders to get into these stores because we're competing for margins. You got guys that are making 100,000 units and they can sell for cheap, and they don't have anything like this in their store. So we already have some things lined up for that. But some noticeable insights about the business model are a 47% return, 7% profit margin after Amazon fees, a conservative 3-time return on ad spend for targeting ad campaigns, and an estimated $550,000 in revenue and 61,800 units sold within the first 12 months. Why are we doing this? What's the best case scenario? What do we want out of this? Well, we want to completely take over Amazon in the retail space with our product being sold absolutely anywhere it possibly could. And on a 5 to 10 year time horizon, we have our eyes set on a $1 billion or more acquisition. And you're probably thinking to yourself, how many pouches does this guy have in his gums to spit out a number that crazy? And actually none, but I don't know if you're familiar with these guys right here, but Zyn was acquired, they're nicotine pouches. They were acquired by Philip Morris International, Big Tobacco, 2 years back for $16 billion. We're gonna do the same thing with caffeine. So that's why we're here today, asking for $50,000 in funding in exchange for 50 cents per unit sold in perpetuity. This will allow us to successfully do a 3 SKU launch, 3 flavors, 5,000 units per flavor, with the remainder of the investment going towards Amazon ads and dealing with FBA costs, affiliate marketing, and sending out product to influencers. So thank you guys so much, and I'd like to open it up to questions.
I'll kick it off. First of all, great presentation, impressive.
Thank you.
Question for you: what kind of regulations are you held accountable to, and how do you work around those?
Yeah, so pouches fall under the supplement industry, so they're classified as dietary supplements, which some people might be scared about, but It's all about knowing your manufacturer and getting third-party labs involved to test the product if there's any concerns. But there's no FDA approval needed. They have to be produced in registered facilities that are GMP certified.
Okay.
Has the product been tested?
Tested for critical
Other
components,
than,
lab
like,
tested?
Well, just saying for health, I mean, you bring up a good point. What am I putting in my mind?
Right.
Has that product been tested that you can say to people confidently online, it's all natural, or it's whatever,
Yes.
whatever claims you're making?
Yes, it can, and the actual mechanism in which it diffuses into your bloodstream has been studied countless times. It's a very popular delivery device for endurance runners, marathon people, that because they can't carry around beverages, caffeine, so they have a caffeine gum, which is disgusting, and they have some forms of mints, so they're running and it's still absorbing through the same way.
Yeah, so what's the plan for kind of educating your consumers about this delivery system? Because to your point, I think there are some niche athletes that are maybe familiar with this, but I think the broader public sees pouches, and to your point, they think Zen.
Right.
That's what I thought.
Right, it's all.
How are you going to educate everyday consumers?
Of
that
course,
this exists?
it all boils down to, we have to educate through marketing. So another big thing that I didn't even have time to hit on in this is that a lot of the best reviews about the products were that they got people off of nicotine and tobacco. They had the same oral fixation to put something in their mouth and still become productive and have those effects without the detrimental side effects of tobacco, dip, whatever it may be. So a lot of it is going to come down to, yes, we might look like Zyn, but we're not, and here's why. It's just gonna play into the marketing campaign.
Your
I think,
alternative is really what it is.
yeah,
Yeah, and there's a huge market for
People trying to quit.
nicotine pouches. Yeah, I mean, if we look at the numbers, approximately half of nicotine pouch users have reported trying to quit at least once. So there's a big market we can tap into there that we didn't even mention in our presentation. One thing I wanted to mention, I wanted to go back a slide, is, I don't think you didn't hit on this. So this number right here, this is only on Amazon. I hope that was already kind of implied, but these two companies haven't even touched the big box retailers, the gas stations. They are only exclusively selling on Amazon, well, and their website as well. So yeah, I just wanted to.
Question, so your whole business is predicated on the agreement you have with your, was it your friend's friend, your uncle's friend, or what was it?
no. So the whole business as in production runs?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you have an agreement in place?
We
Or
don't.
do you have a verbal?
We have a verbal agreement, but it would cause a little bit of bad blood if, a family member of mine referred me over to him. So if I had to, from my experience, it's a pretty solidified. We've been going back and forth on text too, so I guess that's written as well.
Yeah, well, I guess the thing to think about is King Dip. Is that the one?
Yep.
He's doing probably millions of them, hundreds of thousands.
Right.
You'll want to get that agreement in place fast.
Of course.
A formal one.
Yep.
Because as much as it is family money, is money.
Of course.
So that, I just see that as a huge vulnerability, because if you
Mhm.
don't have that, the other provider, would they do business with you?
So
Or
the
no?
other provider, we'll share this, one of the reasons we didn't want to go with them, because even at the lowest MOQ we could achieve, which actually happened to be a little bit lower than this guy, he wanted 33% of the company. He operates as a VC for pouches. He has a company of his own he didn't disclose. He's just a completely shady guy. And we really wanted to go with it, but we had to, reel back. And then some people overheard our conversations with the guy as well and pointed out certain things. So it's like, we're optimists, we're dreamers, we want to get something going, but we've been in a situation where we've had, to break apart from a partner. We didn't want to get tied up in another
Have
one.
you thought about offering equity or partnering with the pouch maker, your friend?
Yeah, I actually have. I feel like it would give him a little more skin in the game.
It would certainly lower all your costs.
Right.
Now you're doing it at cost,
Mhm.
potentially.
Yeah, that's definitely an avenue we wanna branch into. I mean, we're open to really working with anyone that can help us push this through. So we're really antsy to get it going.
So one question I have too is, again, very great presentation here. It's been entirely focused really on the pouches.
Right.
Is this representing a full pivot for the direction of your company away from like the gummies and the powders?
No. So we actually, the gummies, they're in R&D right now. We have a PharmD student at the University of Florida that has experience in compound pharmaceuticals. So we're trying to develop the recipe to actually deliver an effective dose in a reasonable serving size, which has proven very difficult. That's why there's really essentially no competitors for the pre-workout gummy whatsoever. We have a manufacturer lined up that can produce that, but we'd have to go through R&D with them, and they'd have to see if they can manufacture that product at scale. But as far as powders go, no. We're still feet on the ground, trying to go to different cities around Florida, make some connections, get into different supplement stores, just leverage all our connections. We have people on our team that are trying to reach out to different, right now the best focus is the brick and mortar one-off locations, or anywhere between 1 to 10 regional locations. We don't have the scale for Vitamin Shop, GNC, Walmart, but we're starting small.
I mean, we're currently in talks with over 20 stores that we're working on just for the powders alone, that we're sampling out, waiting to hear back and doing a demo. So the powders, we're not just cutting it off. We're not pivoting in that manner.
It's hard with our margins though. So we're having to drop our margins, which essentially allows us to grow at a slower speed. So we're having to drop margins. We're learning the hard way.
Jen, just to confirm, your competition is a cup of coffee, a Red Bull, like who, I want caffeine, right? Like that's
Right.
why I'm buying this, because I need to I got to study, whatever. What are the alternatives that are not cans?
Not cans? Yeah, like you said.
Those things, so that.
Everything else,
Coffee,
yeah.
Energy drinks, I guess tea.
And does that happen faster?
So
Do
they
I get
happen,
it
so it
faster?
depends on how much food you have in your stomach.
Okay.
So if you have a lot of food in your stomach, these will absorb faster, but without, they'll probably absorb around the same time. If you're drinking coffee on an empty stomach and you're putting a pouch in empty or full stomach, they're gonna diffuse in the.
And there's no, like, if I'm drinking a Red Bull, there's sugar, there's other
Right.
Yeah.
crap
So
in it.
we're naturally sweetened and
From a weight
flavored.
gain, from a health,
Right.
whatever, this is just
Monk
the
fruit,
caffeine.
stevia, caffeine,
Okay.
And
alpha GPC, L-tyrosine, so all these natural brain enhancing, cognitive enhancing ingredients.
yeah, all natural. There's no product that's 100% naturally sweetened and flavored in this space whatsoever. I mean, that's kind of implied here by the chart, but it's going to be a completely new thing to the market, and it will also address a lot of the concerns and the complaints, as we mentioned, from those bad reviews. The chemical aftertaste, it's almost every other review. They're complaining about how potent it is, and a lot of the people that are leaving these reviews actually include that they would almost prefer something flavorless. And so we've already gotten samples made, prototypes of what our product's gonna be, and it is very mild, very enjoyable. It is not overpowering whatsoever, and once again, it's 100% natural. And another thing is the coconut fiber. So go up,
Most
yeah.
of these pouches, unless they're produced by our manufacturer, like Alpha Fuel, they're going to use some form of cellulose to be kind of act as a filler, because the pouches don't fully dissolve. You have to discard them after however long you want to keep them in there. But our manufacturer uses all natural coconut fiber, which helps to, less irritation, anything to go along with the gums.
You wanna make sure he doesn't have an exclusivity with Kingdom too?
Yeah.
He doesn't, or have you already asked?
No, he doesn't.
Okay.
I assume he doesn't because he's willing to take on.
Don't
some more-
assume.
Yeah.
Ask.
Right.
You talked about the demo product that you've trialed, or that you've tried already. So you have powders, right?
Yes.
You see them, we
Yes.
have on a half empty bucket. You have no gummies yet, and you have no pouches yet, right? Or is that what you're
Correct.
trying?
Yeah, we have yes.
We
We have
have
no
our-
pouches, but we have everything lined up to produce the pouches. Gummies, we're still in R&D.
So what'd you try? You said you just tried one. The
Yes,
pouch?
we have samples from our original manufacturer of the pouches that we want to create, and
they're just in here. These
Yeah.
aren't our identical formula yet. I think he left out the B12 in them, but these were one of our first rounds of samples. So they're just little
Curious,
pouches.
why wouldn't you, just question more marketing perspective, versus handing us the half empty bucket of powder, why wouldn't you have given us, if it's 10 minutes to hit, you would think you could have convinced 3 people to try it out and actually seen the product?
Yeah.
What's the downside of that?
I don't know what rules and regulations UF has, to be frank with you. I don't even know if we're allowed to record this presentation for our own use. So I didn't want to get into the gray area there. I'm more than happy. You guys want some?
try one out.
Interesting, I would be interested in it, would you?
Yeah.
If you guys are in, I'm in.
You go.
That's how I know
We're
it.
in jail together.
Yep.
I'm
Okay for now, thank you.
So,
That's 10 minutes, by the way. I guess
Okay.
we do.
Yeah.
You got 5 more minutes.
I'd say the biggest reason is because we switched up the label a little bit. We had a different name in mind, and we put our company name on there, so we didn't want
Your
to
next pitch.
confuse you guys.
Hit 'em out immediately.
Yeah.
Hand them out immediately? Yeah, I didn't know, like I said.
No, I know, I
Apologies.
understand why, but I think for any outside pitches, put it in investor's.
For sure, for sure, 100%.
You have some influencers here.
Yeah, you gotta do a home marketing for us.
Thank you. Good job.
Thank you.